In the recent days, Vladimir Putin introduced two new weapon systems of a completely different kind and conducted a nuclear missile testing. We're seeing clear military escalation. But why? For the past 9 months, we've been hearing how Donald Trump was the Kremlin's man in the White House. Yes, they did say that. How Russian army was easily advancing into Ukraine. How Putin was invited as a guest of honor to visit America and then China. How great everything was going for Russia. And then Putin introduces new nuclear missile and orders launch of a nuclear uh, testing. Russian propaganda turns completely around and goes wild, bashing America again. Why? Well, because something real big happened in the recent days. Donald Trump started seeing the obvious, and the USA finally started showing it the signs of strength. The remaining question is, will Vladimir Putin blink? Let's find out. Howdy, howdy, friends. This is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. I had a full start today. This is try number 2. I was fiddling with equipment for quite some time, and somehow live stream got turned on. So I couldn't deliver the first one. Hopefully this one will work. Now, as usual, at Inside Russia, you will not find any lies, propaganda, or BS. Instead, you'll find lots of truth, common sense, and logic. And emotions too, because I'm living through my country's tragedy. Today's message will consist of 3 parts: the yesterday, the today, and the tomorrow. To understand today, what's currently happening, it's crucial to know yesterday. What happened in the previous month and what has led to right now. And if we know today, we will know tomorrow. The tomorrow is the easy part. It's trying to figure out what is going on today. That's where it's difficult. Now, I'll try to be very brief, telling you of the yesterday. In the mid-2024, Vladimir Putin found himself in a very, very tight spot. Dead end, really. Russian army was stuck in Ukraine, and the war economy started showing the signs of deep system crisis developing. The only ray of hope, ray of light for Vladimir Putin was Donald Trump. His possible victory in the upcoming presidential elections, it would bring Putin relief. It was unclear what kind of relief. Everything was unclear, but that was the only thing that Putin and his friends hoped for. It was clear from how Russian propaganda was treating Donald Trump. And there were a lot of talks about how Trump would come and save us. And he did win. He did become the president. And Putin's hopes became the reality. And the game of politics, a new kind, began. Donald Trump gave Putin a lot of space to breathe, to maneuver. Amazingly enough, Putin's plan that concerned Donald Trump worked. New American president, instead of forcing Russia into a peace agreement with Ukraine, instead of crushing it with more sanctions, with threats and getting it real, instead of that, he started appeasing Putin. Donald Trump, and I'm going to remind you what happened now. Donald Trump called Putin multiple times in February, in March, in April, begged for peace, sent his envoy, different envoys to Moscow a few times, legitimized Putin, calling him a good guy who will be deciding the fate of the Middle East together with Donald Trump. American president unofficially admitted to the European leaders in late April that Vladimir Putin didn't want peace and felt like winning. Right after that, Trump would compliment Putin again and call him in again and talk to him again. Donald Trump took one step further. He invited Vladimir Putin to visit the USA, gave him the royal treatment, and threw an Air Force parade at his honor. That Air Force parade was paid by the US taxpayers, by the way. Donald Trump tried real hard to promote peace. Well, you know what? I give it to the guy. He did. Very childish efforts, very ill-informed efforts, but he tried. He was trying for so many months. 2 weeks ago, he called Putin again, had a very long conversation, and then after, at the press conference, he promised everyone that in 2 weeks he'd meet Putin somewhere in Europe to advance on the peace agreement with Ukraine. Now, what Donald Trump didn't understand was the motives of Vladimir Putin and real goal. American president sincerely believed that Vladimir Putin wanted peace. I mean, it is very clear right now, looking from the late October back to this period of time of almost 9 months, right? So Donald Trump sincerely believed that Putin wanted peace. And in normal country, and Donald Trump is the president of a normal country that is a part of a normal world, Western world with good values, it is normal to desire peace. That's where everyone, and not just Donald Trump, but many, definitely his advisors and many others were making this mistake. Normal countries, normal people living in normal world, they want to live peacefully. War to them is not normal. Peace is. The problem is, Russia is not your regular normal country these days. Russia is an authoritarian state ruled by one ruthless strongman. To him, peace is not normal any longer. The war is a given to rule the country with an iron fist. That's an excuse to hang on to power longer. As long as the war goes on, he gets more power, he gets rule longer. So Putin used Donald Trump by giving him false hopes every time. And then he wanted time and space to maneuver. And he did well. He turned if we look back a few years, shortly after Putin made a decision to attack Ukraine, he became the pariah, unshakable, anywhere in the world. He didn't even speak with anyone for a year and a half, let alone just traveling to other countries. Remember those times? Because I remember well. Now, all this maneuvering, dancing with America back and forth, that has returned him into the world of high-level geopolitics and one of world's leaders. Okay, he's back with a bang. And yes, Donald Trump handed it to him. There's no question about that. To be fair, I think that Donald Trump sincerely wanted peace. And that, in my eyes, that's an excuse. He didn't care of the conditions of peace, okay? He didn't care if Ukrainian lost its lands. He didn't care for Ukrainian people much, but he just wanted to get it over with. It's just neither him nor his advisors understood Russia at all. I mean, they should have known what was going on in the first place, or at least they should have watched Inside Russia. I've talked of exactly that here. How many times? 12, over and over, talking about this actions and events, deciphering them. Anyway, congratulations. You've just completed Russian-American relations in 2025 university grade course by listening to me. Only I don't think they teach this at any university. Um, anyway, this is all for the yesterday. Now, today. The today is very interesting, unsettling and scary, but definitely not boring. By the way, if you are enjoying this message so far, please hit the like button and subscribe if you aren't subscribed yet. It's taken me a long time to start the live stream, and trust me, that was confusing, not easy. And anyway, after this message is over, please leave a comment sharing what you think of the message. And if you have nothing to share, that happens to the best of us, just write which part of the world you're watching it from, or perhaps write how long you subscribed and how long you've been watching to Inside Russia. I've been reading that a lot lately. I ask it every time in the live streams now. And trust me, when I go through the messages and I look at the map of the world, and I understand that people all over the world watch me. And that's just incredible. So thank you very much. Let me know where you're watching from when you subscribe to Inside Russia. And, something nice would be also great. Also, I wouldn't mind a coffee. I love English tea and coffee. So thank you very much. Now, let's get to the today. In the last few days, a big change in American attitude towards Russia happened. Donald Trump made another attempt to call Putin. Right after he proudly, after finishing the telephone conversation, he proudly announced a breakthrough. He announced that he'd be meeting with Putin in Europe in 2 weeks, and there will be a breakthrough in the peace process, in the peace negotiation. And of course, again, he was mocked by the Russians. By the way, Russians on the Russian side, where the propaganda, the officials, every time Donald Trump calls, called, made a move, then backed out, all this dancing back and forth. Every time they mocked him, they called him names, and they basically laughed at him. And they certainly did this time as well. First, Dmitry Peskov, Putin's press secretary, reacted to Trump's commentary by basically saying, well, this upcoming talks in Budapest have not been finalized. When Donald Trump clearly said, you know what, we will talk 2 weeks, perhaps earlier than that. So they started, this is the tone that the Russian media started talking about. Nothing decided, nothing promised, things like that. And TASS, the Russian premier propaganda outlet, also made a statement that there was nothing. Russia was not going to alter its course and conditions for the victory. The White House saw the statements, I bet they did, and they sent Marco Rubio to meet with Russia's Foreign Minister Lavrov to discuss what's going on, to discuss further, perhaps to discuss on the meetings. But they never met. They spoke on the phone, and Lavrov admitted that Russia wasn't going to make any compromises. Putin is set on the conditions of the peace agreement. Ukraine must surrender, and Russia will stop the war after Ukraine surrenders as the reward to the Ukrainians. Otherwise, Russia will continue waging the war until the last resisting Ukrainian eliminated. Now, this is as simple as it gets. This is Russia's conditions for stopping the war. They're not going to make any compromises. They're not going to exchange lands. They're not going... Nothing. Ukrainians must surrender. That's it. And I think that was the breaking point for Donald Trump. I think he realized that for the 9 months, Putin had been playing him. Trump canceled the meeting, and Russian propaganda and the officials, again, they started mocking Donald Trump further. You can't cancel what wasn't planned. And they were laughing. That was like, literally like that. Another public slap in the face of Donald Trump. Russia today, by the way, also picked up the story, and it was printed. So this is a wide audience. There have been many slaps before, and that's another one. And the actions followed. In return, the USA slapped Russia with real sanctions. For the first time, Donald Trump woke up and did something real. For the first time. Remember, back in February, back in March, I told you in the live streams that the USA started updating information about going after Russia. Placing sanctions and updating information how they were watching sanctions and how they were punishing those companies who tried to circumvent the sanctions. Now, information simply, nothing happened until now. Lukoil and Rosneft, Russia's largest oil producers. Literally, there are two companies that produce majority of Russia's oil and, extract, transport, and ship and export. So they are the bread makers. They were placed under direct sanctions. Again, it was the first time ever from Donald Trump. First package of real sanctions. The Chinese immediately reacted. One day later, they announced they would stop buying Russian oil. And the Indians later joined the suit. The Indians have been kind of back and forth. They announced quite a few times that they would be buying less oil because Donald Trump was pressing them way before. He started in August, first threatening with tariffs, then he placed tariffs onto India. And then Indians have been, at least they announced quite a few times. In fact, they buy less oil right now. The numbers are unclear, but they import less Russian oil. The Chinese, right now, there are tankers, as I speak, that were on the way en route to China with Russian oil. They turn around in open sea. At least one tanker, it's documented. The Chinese mean business. And you know what? Most likely, they will not stop buying all Russian oil. But then every single tanker less is a blow to Russian economy, okay? So the sanctions are working. The extent of them is not clear at this point, but they're real. And that's the fact. Why is it important? Because China and India are two remaining customers. India is the biggest customer. They buy over 1.5 million barrels a day of Russian oil, and China buys over 1 million. The rest of the countries are small potatoes, 900,000 barrels per day altogether combined. Europe was number one for gas and oil, but you know what? Europe's out. So this is huge. And as soon as this new first Trump's package of sanctions was announced and, enacted, and the Chinese reacted, guess what happened next? Putin got concerned. Soon after the announcement of the Chinese to stop buying Russian oil, Kirill Dmitriev, Putin's envoy to the USA, flew to the USA, to Washington, to make a deal, to let those oil companies, Rosneft and Lukoil, continue working. You know what? He didn't achieve his goal. He was basically not taken seriously in Washington. And that's another sign that Donald Trump starts meaning business. He didn't meet the decision makers, okay? And he did not achieve his goal. He came back empty-handed. But instead, he met with American Congresswoman Paulina Luna. And I think it was one of the most shameful moments in US Congress history. I'm not going to tell you much, I'm just going to show you what happened.
Congresswoman Luna, it's a great honor to meet with you.
Thank you.
And thank you again for being such a great force for dialogue and a great force for peace. And you are already quite famous in Russia because you are really working on the first visit of our Duma, which is a Congress and meeting with the US Congress. So we really appreciate all of your efforts, and this is from Russia, from Russian people, to really celebrate your efforts on peace and dialogue.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
It's really hard to believe.
Especially in regards to helping to deliver
Congresswoman Paulina Luna.
But also, too, I want to thank the Russian government for assisting in the release of the Kennedy files. As you know, especially in the United States, such an unfortunate event, but it's
Of course, thanking Russian government.
So I hope to continue relationship building and a peaceful dialogue.
Great. And this is some of
The chocolate.
Putin sayings.
Vladimir Putin on the chocolate, and
Let you know his thinking, because this one says that we don't
the
give up
quotes
our people,
from
and
Putin's
that's one of the
speeches
messages.
on pieces of
And
chocolate.
he also talks about
Wonderful
important
present
political
to
dialogue with Russia.
US Congresswoman. It's fantastic. It's the best present, really.
Well, let me tell you, if all meetings consist
No, this
of
is Russian
chocolate-
propaganda showing us. Nice. I don't even know where to start. This guy, Kirill Dmitriev, he is the husband of Putin's daughter, best girlfriend. So he's part of the family. He is one of the top propagandists in Russia. He is one of the rulers of Russia. He is one of people who make lives of Russian people so unbearable, who take away their freedoms, who oppress, who jail those who dare to stand up. That's the closest circle of Vladimir Putin. And then he's meeting with a US Congresswoman that US citizens voted for and gave her the right to represent them in the Congress. And then she's flirting, she's taking flowers, and of course, Kirill Dmitriev invites her to the Parliament of Russian Federation, and where the parliamentarians are all aware that she exists, who she is, and they're waiting for her to come to Russia to establish a relationship. And then after that, he gives her chocolate with Vladimir Putin. But that's not just pieces of chocolate. No. That's quite something different. That's on those little pieces of chocolate, there are quotes. If fighting is imminent, you should fight. You should strike first. Russia doesn't get concerned. Russia is not afraid. Russia doesn't get angry. It just gets concerned. We are ready to take any challenge and win. If necessary, we will teach whoever we find necessary. The fewer teeth you have, the more you love porridge. And the best one I like is the boundaries, the borders of Russia are never. It means Russia is boundaryless. Russia is everywhere. That is the present to the Congresswoman, US Congresswoman Paulina Luna, and she took it with pleasure, and she said she'd be taking it any time. Flowers and chocolates like that. Now, clear messages. There's so much symbolism here. And then I don't know, friends. Perhaps I'm overreacting. What do you think? If I tell you my opinion, if it was my Congresswoman, if I were a voter and a taxpayer, if I saw that, I'd be knocking on her door of her office the very next time, the very next hour available. And I'd be asking her, what the hell just happened her when she met Kirill Dmitriev? This is one of the lowest moments, in my opinion, in the history of U.S. Congress. Okay? And, this Congresswoman Paulina Luna, she cannot say that, oh, I was uninformed. I didn't know who I was meeting, one of the devils and demons. Oh, I didn't know, because other people in the United States definitely know. For example, this guy right here, U.S. Treasury Secretary Bassett, he definitely knew. He blasted an NBC reporter when she talked about Kirill Dmitriev. Scott Bassett got mad when a reporter told him, but this guy tells that Russian economy is fine and everything goes well. And he goes, well, of course, what else he can say? He is the propagandist. I can't believe you going to cite the propagandist. And you know what? I have respect for this guy, the Secretary of Treasury. Scott Bassett, I think he's a great guy. He's uninformed and he tells how it is. Now, the Congresswoman, unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Now, Dmitriev returned to Moscow and reported to his boss. When he did that, the stinky substance hit the fan. Putin started acting tough. No, that mask he was wearing of a nice guy, of the guy who wanted peace thrown off into the trash can. This is the new Putin. I want you to see this guy now. He immediately put the uniform on. You know what? Only 3 times in history of Russia we saw Putin in the uniform. Okay? Meeting the top generals, the chief of staff, the head of the chief of staff, Gerasimov. And I want you to look at this. Now, this guy is sitting above everyone else. You clearly see the Tsar coming and looking at his top generals from above. And these aren't just regular generals. This is Gerasimov, and these are people who are in charge of the war with Ukraine. Putin is not among them. He wears the same uniform. He's the commander-in-chief. He's not among them at the table. He is at the throne. That's where he is. And he meets the generals. And you know what? Everything is fine, according to them. He's taking their reports. And everything is just fine. Russian... Yeah, this is a great picture right here. Is he a college professor, school teacher sitting, above them? Imagine how demeaning these fellas should feel sitting in front of Putin. Not like they're good guys, but I mean, just look at this situation right here. Just great. And then they report that everything goes well. That Russian army encircles Ukrainian troops, they fall, Russia moves into different settlements, captures settlements, and everything is normal. The war goes as planned. And this definitely the message of Russian propaganda we've been hearing from everywhere. Look, everything's fine. Vladimir Putin is calm. He's meeting the generals. Generals report him in a normal, planned way. Russia is doing what it has it's always been doing. It's winning. Then Vladimir Putin did another thing. He ordered nuclear testing of a nuclear missile of a new kind called Burevestnik. Well, Burevestnik supposedly, no one can't really say. The Norwegians confirmed that there was a missile fired, so it did happen. It's not a lie, and it fell somewhere in the Northern Sea. But this new missile supposedly has nuclear engine, and it's nuclear powered, and it can fly great distances, up to 14,000 kilometers, 9,000 miles. Russian propaganda, of course, blew it up everywhere, on every corner, and every media. Russians read about that. New type of weapon, unstoppable. Russia is unstoppable now. Russia can reach the farthest corner of this world. Now, I want you to look at these chocolates again. Russia has no borders. That's what it says. And Burevestnik has no borders, can fly around Russia. You see how these messages work with each other? They're connected to each other. Makes me sick. That's a warning to all of you, by the way. Not just Donald Trump, not just Americans, but to all of you. Burevestnik and the chocolates, that's real face of Putin. Okay, the masks are off. Anyway, he tested this new, supposedly miraculous nuclear missile. And then he mentioned that there is also new Russian weapon, new Russian delivery system called Poseidon, and that's a nuclear submarine delivery vehicle that actually, at slow speed, delivers an atomic bomb under the sea, on the bottom of the sea. Okay, and it cannot be detected, cannot be stopped. It's a sure thing. So it's a very nice thing to tell the world. Okay, we can blow you up at any time because our country has no borders. Because, we want to do so. Very nice. So Russian propaganda turned irate to the Americans. How dared Donald Trump to declare, to place sanctions on Russian oil companies? How dare? America is the enemy now. And, propaganda is calling Donald Trump names. I don't want to repeat these names, but you can easily find them if you go and Google them. And they're acting as if there was no period of hopes, there was no period of Trump optimism. 9 months, there was. I want to remind you. And I am the witness. My live streams and my messages, my videos, is the evidence that there was a different period in Russia. When Putin flew to America, Americans became friends again. Donald Trump became one of the greatest leaders in the world. Americans all of a sudden were not Satanists, not the evil people, but good, hardworking folks. And now they're Satanists again, just like that. The markets react honestly, okay? When there was Trump optimism, Russian stock market was, Russian stocks were up by some. And now the markets have fallen sharply. The sharpest decline in years Russian stock market has seen. Now, the mood of Russian propaganda, the mood of Russian society has changed. All the officials, all the media, all of a sudden have started warmongering. We're the strongest. We are the best. We are the righteous. We have a right, since Russian values are the best, we have the right to kill anyone, to blow up this world, and so forth. That's the general mood of the propaganda in Russia. escalation and militarization. That's what's happening. And it's unsettling. If you want to know my opinion, I don't like it. It's scary. It's scary. It's scary for the world. Russia has become the bully and I guess the evil empire, just like the USSR. This shift is happening right now in front of my eyes and in front of everyone's eyes, really. Now, Donald Trump reacted, and I think I like his reaction very much. When Burevestnik, this super duper new missile, nuclear missile, was fired and tested, and he said, we have a small, nice, excellent submarine right next to Russia in the waters, and it has many nukes, so they wouldn't fly for a long time. So there's no need. And he's absolutely right. And I think Russians know that, or they have noticed what he said. And the second serious step Donald Trump has made in recent days is that he has taken Russia's threats seriously. And he has ordered to continue nuclear testing. Now, the USA hasn't tested the nukes for a long time. Now, that's about to change. And that's the right move. I mean, who can blame America for that? If Burevestnik is fired, if everyone is threatened, not just America, but the whole world is threatened with Poseidon. And that's not the message to Ukraine, by the way, all these missiles. You understand who the message is aimed at? At the voters of Congresswoman Paulina Luna. Yes, that lady who takes flowers and chocolates from Vladimir Putin and is invited to go and visit Russian parliament. And it's also those missiles are aimed against her personally as U.S. citizen. So, by the way, any voters of Paulina Luna here, if you could let me know in the comments what you think. Perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps I have, not being U.S. citizen, I have some kind of a odd perception of things. But that's my honest opinion. That's what I'm sharing with you. Anyway, this is today. This is the today. This is what's going on right now in Russia. And by understanding today, we can see future very clearly. We can see the tomorrow. Now, before I move to the tomorrow, just very shortly, thank you very much for all the support. Thank you for your comments, words, this avalanche of nice comments in the last few videos. You saying where you're from and how long you've been watching me and how you like my work. Thank you. That just know that it warms my heart. Thank you for you commenting, watching, praying along with me, and for you sending your love. Thank you for all the support. I've seen lots of coffees recently. Thank you very much, friends. And a couple people sent me coffees while I was delivering this message. Muller David, thank you very much. Laura from Italy. Someone, Demo, Wayne, thank you very much, friends. I appreciate it. Thanks for coffees, PayPal, Patreon. You have my word. I will continue no matter what. I always deliver my honest opinions. I am very sincere. Sometimes I have problems starting these darn things, because I am one-man show. Lights, microphone, software, sound processing, everything is on me. So please forgive me if mishaps happen, just like that happened today. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Now, the tomorrow part for Russia is really easy now. I have been asked many times, Konstantin, what do you think is going to happen? What's the scenario for Russia to develop? I didn't know because there were a few scenarios, possible scenarios. Russia was really at the crossroads. Now the path has been chosen, and Russia will be moving there. There's no question about that. My opinion, I want you to. Now, I promised everyone that every time I say the word, mark my words, I actually will be marking my words by myself because I want to follow up on my words. So, scenario for Russia is escalation. Vladimir Putin has taken the scenario of escalating, military escalation. He is going to be trying to put fear into the hearts and minds of people all around the world, and he has started doing so. He's going to be talking a lot about Russia's military might, the nuclear weapons, new kinds of weapons, Burevestnik, Sarmat, Oreshnik. Oreshnik, by the way, is forgotten. It's been 1 year and it was the talk of Russia for quite some time, but now no one even remembers that because it's not really a new weapon. It was designed in the USSR. So Putin sold it to Russian people and it lasted some time and then it's forgotten. Now it's Burevestnik, it's Poseidon, it's all these things. Anyway, he's going to be trying to scare you. He's acting like a bully, and then he's going to be doing it bigger and bigger. He's going to conduct terror against Russians. First against Russian citizens, he has started, but the next wave will be against his own servants. And what we're seeing today is that there are whispers behind Putin's back about from the Siloviki, from the elites, and from the army. They're not happy. They are angry with him. So what is he going to do right now is to arrest and get rid of many of his own supporters. Perhaps some people from his close circle. And again, I'm saying, mark my words, I am expecting a wave of arrests, disappearances, or sudden deaths. Because now Putin is against those who are angry with him in Russia. And he will be replacing them, my bet, with those who come back from Ukraine alive. He is going to be escalating. He's going to be throwing more and more men into Ukraine. He's going to be trying real hard now to break Ukrainians down. He doesn't need to invent anything. He's just following the path of Joseph Stalin. Now, I'll remind you, Stalin didn't become this cruel dictator just overnight with millions of death on his conscience. He started out slow and slowly, and Putin is starting out slowly as well. But Russia is on the path of military escalation. I think that the USA will be escalating as well, and it's going to be another arms race, just like it was between the Soviet Union and the USA. I think Putin and Russia are going to lose because Russia have less resources than the United States. The USA is the leading country in the world. It has lots of support in the world. Despite all this craziness that's been going on, still, America is number one. And it has lots of money. It has the best military in the world. It has the most advanced technology, both civil and military. And Russia simply is not a competitor to the United States. But as long as Russia competes, as long as it escalates, Putin is going to be at power. The escalation will stop when Putin is out of the office. He will go. I just hope that he will not start blowing up nukes. Who knows what happens when he's cornered? I believe that the elites will not let him, but with that guy, he's just, you don't know. right now it's obvious that no one is afraid of this testing and his words about nuclear weapons. Before, people got freaked out when they just heard the nukes. Before, having the nukes was the guarantee from using someone using the nukes, right? But it doesn't work any longer. And what will work is real testing, would be blowing up a nuclear missile. Perhaps, not in the country, but somewhere, but it's like real test. And I hope it doesn't get to that point. But in general, the situation has become a lot more scary. That's my personal opinion. Now, there will be many news coming out every single day. And I'll remind you that at Patreon account of Inside Russia, you have access to 9 news, the most important ones that myself and Oля, my daughter, we both select this news, comment, and place for the patrons to see. So if you want to stay on top of things Russia, please join Patreon, become patron of Inside Russia. You'll know everything that is needed to know to know about Russia to stay on top of things, and you'd help channel as well. Thank you very much, friends. I apologize for this late start of the live stream. I had technical difficulties. I started not knowing. I was trying to figure out, and I had to cancel, delete this a few seconds, and then restart it again. So, if we could do 10 minutes at least, you let me know. Um, 10 minutes of Q&A, of live stream chat, or you think we should wrap it up? No. Lorna, Karen, undo the changes. I'm sorry. Lorna, please let me know. Let me know. Let me know what we need to do. Thanks for watching, by the way. 3,000 people. That's a lot. I can't stand when I mess something up because that just sets the wrong mood. So Bob has 10 minutes max. Harry, Bob, again, friends, I apologize for this. I don't know if you saw my first few seconds when I was trying to figure out what was happening. Um, so let's do 10 minutes max. Thank you so much. And tomorrow I am trying to finish up the Friday crazy news update in time. So I air it tomorrow. There will be no live stream chat. Saturday, there will be 2 live streams for patrons in the morning, late morning, early afternoon from Tashkent Breakfast Club, and then late live stream for patrons only, relaxed one. We call it the virtual pub of Inside Russia, where just friends hang out, really. More personal one. And I'm thinking of Lorna, the mods, Karen, Bob, Harry, Amir. If I do a walking tour of Tashkent, something like that, would that be okay? But it would have to be done earlier than usual 10 p.m. live stream. So let me know. So, as usual, please put your questions in caps and put Inside Russia after @ so I could see that highlighted in large orange box. And Werner, thank you for your question. Could Putin plus some of his friends turned into a scapegoat by the vertical oligarchs so they can stay and get back in business out of self-defense? Of course, that's what Putin is afraid of. Watch my live stream, my message that I did day before yesterday. That's about that whispering. There is anger at Putin in the very top of the echelons of power. Okay, and that's the only thing that I think that how this war is going to end. Someone is going to conspire and make a move on Putin, and we'll see what happens. Well, one thing for sure, I'll be there. I'll be commenting. I'll be giving you my commentaries, and I'll be on top of things. So thank you very much for being such a great part of Inside Russia, and you can count on me. Random Lietuvas, thank you so much. Thank you for good words. Sam the Legend K. you tell me, I don't know. Ron Gravel, why was Paulina Luna there in the first place? Well, I think that she was asked as a favor to meet this guy because obviously the higher ups didn't want to meet him, so he had to meet someone, and why not Paulina Luna? But she should have known better. She should have known who she was going to meet. She should have done that. You can't meet, if you're a politician of that level, if you're a congresswoman, you can't meet people randomly. Oh, this wonderful fella came from Russia and he's going to bring you flowers and chocolates. You represent hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of voters. You represent the people of America with, that stand of certain values. Perhaps I am very wrong in my assessment of what a congresswoman or a congressman is, but this is at least how I understand it should be. Okay? You should know before you go, especially someone comes from Russia, especially from the higher level envoy. Why? Ron, I found it shocking that Putin was in that small room with only 4 generals. How many generals have been eliminated during this war? Well, we were shown that room from certain angles. I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't have met the generals had he known that he was not safe. I think his safety was guaranteed somehow. And then he was, of course, if it was Putin, which looks like I don't know. That path I don't want to take. There are a lot of people ask me and discuss, was it real Putin? How do I know? We can only guess. Is that true that they dilute gasoline in Russia? Václav, Pekka, thank you so much. Oh yes. They did it before. Then quality of gasoline was fine from 2000, early 2000 to, 2022. And then now there are problems with gasoline. They start diluting it with different substances. Yes, there are big problems for engines, especially now. The engines are so high tech, they require a certain level of gasoline. Russian cars didn't care. The engines of Russian cars were so primitive that they could take any gasoline. But now, if you have a modern car, then definitely. I know that the Chinese cars don't take Russian gasoline that well anymore. There are more and more reports of the cars breaking down. Gasoline, right? Come on, gasoline. You're so used to pumping good gas in your car, you don't even care about the quality. It's the same everywhere. If you live in America, in Czech Republic, in Europe, and Canada, right? Well, it wasn't always like that for us. Now, I'll tell you, I have many personal stories about gas back in the 90s and 80s. And it's repeating. The history is repeating itself now, or it's rhyming, whatever you want to call it. Um, Jack Nov, thank you so much. What do you to take care of yourself? Well, what do you do to take care of yourself and relax from all of this? Do you have any interesting hobbies? Well, this started out as my hobby. When I was an executive, I worked for a large energy company. Other men of my age, they had hobbies. Some liked fishing, some liked, I don't know, some played hockey, some a lot drank. That was the Russia's the best, most famous, or most widespread hobby is drinking. So I don't drink. I like fishing, but I'm not a huge fan. Like I fish once in a while. Like I take my son Michael to fish when I can. There's no place to fish here, unfortunately. Sometimes I play sports, but not that much. And I turned to YouTube as a hobby because I like making videos. And then it became my life. I don't have anything besides YouTube. I work from morning till night, pretty much 7 days a week. I do take off Sundays these days, but it doesn't mean that I completely give up YouTube. It just means I don't do messages on Sundays. So nothing, Sometimes me and Michael go to saunas, and then that's, I guess that's the only hobby I have. And I try to get away from Tashkent once in a while. Just Terry, thank you for coming back. Please, I apologize for this mess up. Andrew Hodson, thank you very much for coming from South Africa as usual, the pillar of Inside Russia. A couple more minutes and that's it. Kevin, I am a Democrat in an ocean of Republican politicians. Well, you know what? There's nothing wrong with being Democrat and Republican. I know quite a few people who are Republican and good people. Um, Democrat, good people. I think it doesn't really matter. You're Republican or Democrat. As long as you have good values, good heart. I mean, tell me what's the difference between Democrats and Republicans? All want love in their hearts. All want families, happiness for their families. All want well-paying job. All want health care. All want to live well. She's a congresswoman from Florida's 13th congressional district. Well, Ron, I've been watching. Yes, I remember you quite well. You participated in the walkthroughs, walking tours of Moscow. Thank you, Ron. Very long name. I am internet Polsh Gebogen. Sorry, but I'll just call you friend. Okay. Thank you, friend. From a purely economical strategic perspective, a U.S. energy focused politician would have little incentive to promote peace as long as instability contributes to strengthen American energy exports. How exactly? Now, my take on this situation, that's going to be the last question. My take on this situation is this. The USA was always competing with Russia for European market because European market is the crown jewel of all world energy trade. Okay, the best paying customer, the most reliable, the richest customer out there. And Russia had always had advantage of having direct pipelines going through Europe. It means no liquefying, no ports, no costly infrastructure. Just stick a pipe inside Earth and have gas deliver natural gas. Just put compressors along the way and deliver it to the end customer, to Europe. That's the best business. You don't have to do anything, okay? And the USA was trying to break into the European market for a long time, but they had liquefied gas, natural gas, and they were saying that, hey, we don't like Russia using it as geopolitical weapon. And Russia was saying, hey, it's pure economics. Come on, our gas is cheaper. Well, Russia was the part of the deal that the agreement that Russia was the country that shut off gas into Europe. They did use it. Putin did use it as geopolitical weapon in August of 2022. Remember that? And soon after, the pipelines were blown up. But before, Putin closed the pipe, closed gas, stopped delivering gas, saying, oh, you know what, we need to maintain the pipeline until next year or something like that. So, and as soon as that happened, Europeans were forced to find new suppliers of natural gas, and they did find new ones. Norway, think it's UK as well, and America, the United States of America. And basically, what happened, Russia gave up the best market to the USA. And energy business is a very long-term game. You have long-term contracts. And Americans signed long-term contracts. Once they're there, it's really hard to replace them, to force them out. It's not going to happen. Now, if the war is over, Europe will not be buying Russian gas. At least, perhaps will be, but in smaller quantities. Not like it used to, because it's been replaced. And there is no sense to continue waging the war just for the sake of selling Europe gas. America will continue selling liquefied natural gas to Europe after the war as well. So, no, I don't think that it makes sense for America energy-focused politician to somehow block peace in Ukraine. I don't think so. Moreover, American companies are going to benefit greatly because they are going to be restoring the entire Ukraine. They're going to be restoring infrastructure, power plants, roads, buildings, everything. Those $320 billion frozen that used to belong to Russia, not any longer, they're going to be used to build up Ukraine. Okay? And American companies, GE, Hatch, Bechtel, Hatch is Canadian, I think. Bechtel, I don't know, you name it. As well as the European companies, there's plenty for everyone there. So they need peace for American companies to flock to Ukraine and start repairing and rebuilding everything. That's the answer to your question. Thank you so much. Well, friends, thank you. Please forgive me for mishap. I don't like when that happens. I invite everyone. Well, I thank you for joining. I remind you, please come back for crazy news update tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to be putting a lot of sarcasm into the message, and I invite you to finish this live stream with a prayer, as usual. Thank you very much. Let's do it. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for food you've placed on our tables, and thank you for roofs you've given over our heads. Thank you for all love in our lives, for our families and children, and please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful. Dear Lord, please give us wisdom to keep our children safe, to raise our children by example, in the way that when they grow up, they will make this world a better place and will never fight in any war. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, I am asking for Ukraine. Country needs peace and people need their lives back. Please stop the bloodshed. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those who are responsible, those monsters who have started and who have power to stop it. Remind them that they're still human beings. so they wake up from their lethargic sleep and make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Please do that. And help every single Ukrainian who has been affected by this terrible tragedy. Please answer the prayers, make their wishes come true. Dear Lord, I'm also asking for my country, Russia. I am asking for you to assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords into an army and have Saint Michael in shining armor lead that army down to this earth to get rid of the demons that have hijacked Russia and who we know by their names and by their faces. Please free my country from them and send your good angels to help good Russian people to run their country in a way that it becomes peaceful, loving, and respecting. Dear Lord, I'm asking to help everyone who is traveling, send them safe travels. Everyone who is in dire straits, in danger, send them safety. Everyone who is seeking for asylum of any kind, send help. And everyone who, all single mothers and fathers who are struggling, trying to raise their children, trying to make ends meet, please help them. Help those who are helping Ukrainians and help those Ukrainians who are currently under Russian attacks. Send everyone safety. Dear Lord, I'm asking for everyone who is sick, addicted, hungry, cold, homeless, jobless, crying, whose heart is bleeding, who's going through divorce, can't see their children as much as they want to, feeling betrayed, feeling losing their faith, feeling abandoned. Please reach out and touch the heart of every person in need. Remind that you are next to them, that you love them, you will be with them forever. Have them feel the warmth of your love. Please help everyone who is in need right now. Dear Lord, thank you very much for allowing us to come together and pray in this wonderful community. Thank you for 26,500 people who are praying along with me right now or simply watching us pray. Please answer everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. Dear Lord, I am asking to help few people who are asking for help. They are Helen, Tony, Larry, Victor Garishan, Larry Barth, TMBC, Rod, Uli Yun, Pamela J, Lee and Brenda, Janice, Nelson, Brenda, Ray, Rachel, Gail, Anita, Teresa, Ron Bazoid, Ann, Hannah, Jeffrey S., his family, Katharina, Mark, Tom W., J.R. McKeem, Gabing with Gary, the Highwayman, Lisa, Harry, Terry, John, Linda, Paula, Dennis, Jason Carney, Susan, Tim, Dory, Rhonda, John, Taylor, Wayne, Darla, George Ruberty, Pamela, Metta Spencer, David Porter, his family, and everyone who is in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, Leif, Randolph, Grace, Dean Spooner and his church, Yelena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron, Pamela, Koshkin Dom, Sandra, Mike and Mike, Petra, Joseph, Millie, Jodes, Philip, Eileen, Victor, Jeff Gibson, Derek Martinez, Janice Burgess, Renata, and Denise Abbott. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, friends. Thank you for coming. Thank you for wonderful, um, wonderful message. That the chance you've gave me to deliver this message. Thank you for being part of Inside Russia. Please tune in tomorrow. It's going to be. I'll try to make it as informational and amusing as I can. So thank you so much. I would like to remind you that you all are awesome and you rock. And I would like to ask you to join me by saying something at the end, as usual, as loud as you can, along with me. The following: Carthago delenda est.